Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to go over a few reasons why someone might choose to sketch in red or blue lead, or even other colors like green, purple, whatever. Red and blue are just the most common. A lot of people ask about that, so I thought I would make a video about it. So the first reason I have listed is that the lead itself is waxy, so it glides smoothly on the paper. I got into the habit of using it in school because I went to school for computer animation, but I did have two traditional animation classes where you draw on paper. And my instructor would always use a red or blue pencil and encouraged us to do the same if we wanted, because it does glide smoothly, so you can easily make some smooth strokes. Like let's say you're trying to draw a head and you have to draw a circle first. So as you're moving your hand around the page, you can just glide the pencil nicely and it's smooth because it's basically a pencil crayon. So that is one reason. Another little reason is that it's not reflective like graphite is. Sometimes in my videos when I'm using graphite, it's a little hard to see what I'm drawing because the light is reflecting off the surface of the paper. And so this pencil is not really reflective. So it's much easier to see when you're sketching. The third reason someone might choose to use colored pencils to sketch is to separate out the elements of the picture, like the foreground, midground, background, that kind of thing, or separate out the environment from a character, anything like that. In my picture, I did most of the sketch in red, and then I wanted to add some trees, but I didn't want all my lines to get confused with each other because I have lots of vertical lines with the mushrooms and with the house itself. And so when I wanted to sketch in the trees, I took a blue pencil instead. That way I could easily separate out what's a tree, what's not a tree. It just really helps visually. Now for reason number 4, this is actually my main reason for using red or blue or any other color to sketch, and that's to make the sketch cleanup easier. So what I'll do, like I do in this drawing, is I sketch in red or blue, whatever color, and then to clean up the sketch, I go over in graphite because graphite is darker. That way I don't have to erase my undersketch. I can just leave it messy and then draw over top, because I hate cleaning up sketch lines where you have to erase it until it looks nice and smooth and pristine. I just hate that. So in order to clean up the sketch, I go over it in graphite, and that way it's easier to see the clean lines. And then when I trace it using my light box, the graphite shows the most because it's the darkest color. If the sketch is already pretty clean, then I don't need to go over in graphite, but for certain elements, like in this drawing, the house, there's a lot of detail in the house. There was a lot of erasing that I did, and since these pencils don't erase perfectly, it can be hard to tell where one line is and isn't. So that's why it's good to go over sometimes and clean up your sketch if you want your lines to be precise and to avoid mistakes when you go to ink it. Reason number 5 is that certain colors will not get picked up by your scanner when you scan it. So an application of this would be, for example, making a comic. Let's say you do your sketch nice and lightly and then you go over it with black inks. You can then scan it and the scanner will not pick up the color if you have the proper scanner settings. But the key is you'd have to sketch quite lightly. I have such a heavy hand that this would not work for me, but if you have a light hand, that'll work. Plus, there's certain colors that work better. Like I know there's a non-photo blue you can get. It's almost like a cyan color and just a pale blue, and scanners have a hard time picking that up, but some people just use regular blue or even red. So if they sketch light enough, it won't get picked up. And now the final reason I've listed as to why someone might sketch in color is simply because they just like the way it looks. They're sketching in their sketchbook and they like seeing that pop of color in there when they've sketched in color. So that's another reason why people do that. So yeah, those are my reasons. And we have a little bit time left in this video, so I thought I would just do a quick few quick updates. First of all, I'm going to VidCon for the very first time, so that's where I'm going to be next week. So yeah, hopefully I see some of you guys there. And after VidCon, I'm going to be out of town for over a month. And so I have a bunch of videos pre-filmed ready to go, but I'm going to be gone for so long that I just couldn't film enough videos. So my schedule is reverting back to Fridays only, just temporarily. Once I'm back in August, I'm going back to Tuesdays and Fridays, but just for now, 1 video per week only on this channel, and then only 2 videos per week on the toy channel. And I'm also taking a short break from the vlogs, but then I'll be back to uploading daily again once I get some internet. So that's that update. And if you want to see the coloring for this picture, that will be next Friday's video. So yes, I really like the coloring. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you've already seen it. It's quite nice. Well, I like it anyway. It's one of my favorites. And I think it's much better than my last cabin picture. So yeah. And the final thing I did in this video is that I took my light box and traced this sketch onto a piece of cardstock, and I used a different colored pencil. I used a purple one. It's technically violet is the color written on it. And I did that instead of using an inking pen because I didn't want really bold lines. I wanted there to not be a focus on line art. So that's why I sometimes outline in a colored pencil, is just so that it's not as line arty. And when I do that, I also don't add a lot of line weight. I just kind of do 1 line thickness everywhere. And I might go back in some areas and add some thickness, but for the most part, since the line art is not a focus, I don't add line weight to it. Anyway, that is it for this video. Like I mentioned, the coloring will be next Friday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Anyway, let's take a closer look. I love the face. I feel like it looks so much like the actress. And then she has a little fan in her hair. Look at that face with her rooted eyelashes. Actually, there's one rogue eyelash here. Okay, well now the rogue eyelash is just lying down, so you can't